Benefits of using an ab mat. One of the mistakes that I often see with clients in the gym is that they're just coming up too high into their crunch. The problem with that is it puts us at risk for herniating a disc. So one of the ways to avoid that happening is to put the hands behind the back, and that way when they raise their head up, they're still keeping neutral spine. So therefore reducing the risk of injury. The setback I have with that is some of my older clients have a really hard time getting their hands behind their back. So by using a tool like the ab mat, I'm able to work them in a greater range of motion, which is more effective. And when they're at the highest point, their spine's still in a neutral position. So really good advantage to that, working harder and safer. I also like it for the full roll-up. When I teach this in class, although I'm always cueing to roll the tailbone forward and start to lay the low back down, what I often get is this, and it's just the shoulders, leading with the shoulders and crushing that back. And so by having some proprioceptive feedback or something to push against, I seem to be able to create a different movement pattern in people. They seem to be able to lay themselves down in a more organized fashion, and therefore making the exercise a lot safer. So to come up, just squeeze your inner thighs, press into your heels, and up we go. The next thing I see often at the gym that really kind of worries me is that when people are doing leg lifts, they're lowering themselves down so far that their back's arching. When we do a leg lift, we want to be able to anchor the bottom two ribs and only lower yourself down as far as you can without those bottom two ribs leaving the floor. They call that the stabilization threshold, and as soon as you cross that, you're putting your spine at risk of shear. So by using the ab mat, just lifting up into a bridge, sliding it under your tail, all of a sudden that exercise is a lot safer because we're not able to arch the back. As long as we're keeping our legs higher than the mat, we're safe. We never want to go down to a position where our back's arched. We can do all of the traditional exercises, crisscross, scissors, any of the exercises you like. Makes a really good pillow too. But for some reason, when we're doing our side leg lifts, I often see people lifting their leg from their hip. So they're actually creating spinal movement to do a leg lift, and that just doesn't make sense. So what we want to do is keep the integrity of the length between the hips and the ribs, keep that space open, and just lift as high as you can without there being spinal movement. But again, some people, it's really hard to change movement patterns. So sometimes by having a prop, we can just disable the movement. So right now, there's not going to be any spinal movement. They're not able to hike the hip, and they're going to get really pure movement in the abductors and also the adductors by lifting the inner thighs. And lastly, if you are a tight hamstring person, sitting on the floor is going to be not very comfortable. So when we get the clients up to work with the toning balls or the flex bands, all of a sudden we've got them in a position where they're slightly elevated. It gives them enough relief to give them that nice neutral spine. So as far as back care, really, really good for the back. Nice, safe, and effective. Come on out June 5th. Like us on Facebook. I hope to see you there.